productivity, winning strategies, and aligning employer-employee goals. If this sounds like something your business could use more of, then you've come to the right place. The Business Mechanic Show with your host, Vaughn Sigmund. Let Vaughn show you how to develop, improve, and jumpstart your business. So now, please welcome the host of The Business Mechanic, Vaughn Sigmund.
In this course, we're going to share with you the best practices, the tools, and the most effective approaches to recruiting great people. Let's just all agree from the beginning, it's hard to argue that your success as a manager in his organization is all going to be determined by the quality of individual which you have on your team. We're going to talk a little bit more, not a little bit more, a lot more about this in future courses, but for sure, bringing on the right people saves you time, energy, gets you to where you want to get in the way of achievements and goals and productivity and reduce stress, because managing people who are bad fits for your organization that are doing an inadequate job for you take up a lot of your time. So getting this first part right is so important to you being even more successful as a manager than you are now. But we find with the dozens and dozens of companies we've worked with in this training that many companies do not follow a defined, documented process for recruiting new hires. Turnover is just a part of having a business, but more importantly, growing a business is going to require hiring new people to fill future roles. So getting this part right, streamlining it, following the best practices you're going to learn, we're going to share with you during this course, is going to up your game in your ability to hire great people. So here's what we're going to cover. In order to get the best candidates, you have to have the best processes. And you want to make sure that you've gone through some of the mental exercises we're going to share with you as part of this course to be prepared to look for exactly the individuals you're looking for, and to be able to post that information into a job ad that attracts those individuals to you. So we're going to look at some of the most important best practices when it comes to recruiting the best staff ever. Some of the key points: preparation. We talk a lot about that throughout this series of courses, but preparation is key. And that's where I find many companies come up short, is they're just, because they lack a process, they don't really have a preparation step in order to get ready to start hiring their new additions to the team. What you're doing now may work, it may not work, but I'm telling you, most companies are stuck with the way they've always done it. So please, as you're going through this course with me, open your mind to some new ideas, some new thoughts, some new approaches that I have personally used. I have talked to thousands of managers through the years who have applied it, and 100% of the time, it opens avenues of success that they did not know existed, because a big part of the reason why you're taking this course is to learn. And secondly, we always have to embrace it. We don't know what we don't know. There's a lot of new ideas and thoughts and approaches that you're going to learn during this particular course in this video that maybe have not occurred to you before. Be willing to adapt, adopt, address, and change how you're currently processing your recruiting in order to up your game. So we're going to talk about the 6 steps. This is kind of the process that you all need to be using, that's tried and true, time tested, implemented, that all results driven managers utilize in order to get the high quality candidates that they're looking for to join their team. So what can make a bad hiring decision? What's going to make that decision a bad experience for you? Because at the end of the day, turnover losing somebody, whether they're good, or turnover when you have somebody that's not working out. Well, that just started with a bad hiring decision. It all comes back to us. We hired a bad person, so that's the reason why they're a bad person and didn't work out. It's, we're not just hiring anybody that walks through the door. We made the decision to bring this person on board. So accept that responsibility. And nothing we teach you in any of these courses is going to make everything 100%, but we're going to improve your averages if you will take in some of the gap fillers that we provide you during this course, because turnover is very expensive. The numbers vary by complexity of job and whether it's salary or management or sales or manufacturing, but you can typically take the rule of thumb of between 2 and 3x their annual pay is what the average turnover is costing employers in America. It's in the hundreds of billions of dollars of additional costs due to bad hiring decisions, people not working out. So getting this part right will save your company and you a ton of money and time, because we want to really be able to hire somebody and they stay with us a long time. So we're not spending additional time interviewing and hiring people. We'd rather be spending that time to managing the team we have, implementing the plans and the strategies that we want to get to the next level with, achieving our goals. And if we're hiring, we want to be hiring for growth, not for turnover. And you don't want to be doing both at the same time. So let's find some ways during this course for you to stem the tide of turnover due to bad hiring decisions, because these bad hiring decisions also create morale issues. When you introduce a bad element into your employee group, into your workforce, that tends to create a virus amongst other employees. Either their bad habits or bad attitude spreads to other people, or because these people are so annoying to the rest of your workforce, your employee team, that it slows them down. It's a distraction. It's an emotional drain on them. It's hard to make tangible, but through thousands and thousands of surveys and studies that's been done on having bad employees in your workforce, it always comes back at the top of the list of a problem, of a challenge that reduces productivity with the employee base. And this inefficiency that's created by bad hires, not only are they doing a bad job at what they do, they're slowing you down in the way of productivity, but they're affecting others, slowing down their productivity. Wow, that costs a lot of money, and it slows you down from getting to where you need to achieve. So it's not to dwell on this too much, but think about that. There's lots of motivations for you as the manager to improve your approach to recruiting and selecting the right people. So the first step of the process is we need to answer a few key recruiting questions. May seem a little silly, but I've had to ask this question many times in my career in managing and leading teams: is do we really need this employee? There are managers out there that they just believe they need an extra hand, or somebody leaves and we have to replace them. Well, sometimes, depending on the economics of the industry or the company and where sales and profitability is going, we may not need to replace that employee right now. Maybe we need to hire a part-time replacement versus a permanent full-time replacement. That's certainly more cost-effective as an employer. Maybe there's a seasonality to your business, and we only need to hire a seasonal temporary person to fill this role. We don't need to make a permanent full-time hire, an FTE, for this. Maybe you can outsource this position for some period of time to an independent contractor. Just opening up you to ideas and thoughts to, if you don't need to hire a brand new full-time person, there may be some other ways to replace or fill a gap. That's just a thought. It's an idea, but I find that many employers, many managers don't consider this before they go out seeking to replace or to add a new person to their team. Another thing to think about too is if it's a higher level position, do we need to be looking outside of our geographic area? If it's a management position, an executive position, maybe we need to be looking at a statewide or a regional type level to recruit people if we're willing to pay to relocate them. Just as a thought, most of the people taking this course are going to be hiring local people for their hourly based positions, but just in case, keep that part in mind. Step number 2, create, if you don't have it, update, if you haven't done it in a while, look at your job description, because that really becomes your template for who you are looking to hire. Not so much the responsibilities. We're going to talk more about that concept in the next course on hiring great people, but for recruiting, you need to have in mind the thought of the right human who's going to be a good fit for your culture, who's a good fit for you, and have a good description of that individual in your job description. It's not just, here's what you need to do. You need to know Excel and Word and computer skills and communication skills and et cetera. You really need to be thinking about work ethic, integrity, drive, competitiveness, some of those intangibles that people need to bring to the role that you cannot train somebody on. I cannot teach somebody how to work hard. They either come knowing with the how to or with the innate drive to achieve and to work hard and accomplish and get things done, or they don't. Many of us get very frustrated with the individuals you hire because we have to tell them everything they've got to do. Well, there's a lot of people in this world, probably 70% of the population, that they need to have they need to follow a process. They need to absolutely be told what to do. But if you need independent thinkers, if you're the kind of boss that needs to surround themselves with people who can just figure stuff out, well, you need to make sure that's part of your job description. They need to be independent thinkers. They need to be able to make critical decisions independently without your involvement. If you need people to work remotely, for example, that's a different skill set than somebody you're sitting close to on a daily basis that you can closely supervise. So think about the traits or the competencies, the born and bred elements of the human as part of your job description too. That is often left out of the job description. We're really good about listing all the duties and tasks, not the person that we're looking for this hiring process. Step number 3, we're talking more about the behaviors and personality. So what styles work for you? You as a manager may want independent thinkers, but if you're more controlling, you need to have your hands on things and controlling things more, that may not be a good fit for you. It sounds like a great idea, but if somebody's challenging you all the time and they're giving you pushback because they've got a ton of ideas and thoughts and new ways of doing things, that they embrace change very rapidly, that may not be a good fit for you or for your job. Be honest with yourself about the type of person that works well with you, not only as part of your job description, but as you start moving into the interview, the selection process. You need to have a very clear understanding of the type of behaviors or personalities that work well, not only for you, but in that role. Look at the most successful people that are in that role today or in the past, and write down some of the adjectives, the descriptors of them that have made them successful. It could be that they follow a process very intently, that they don't require change. They don't require a high level of management and follow-up, but they're yeah, those are kind of dream employees. But think about the role, think about who has been successful in the role and why they've been successful, and keep that in mind as part of your recruiting and screening process. Number 4, you've got to have a competitive compensation and benefits package. Now, if you're a smaller employer that I'm working with right now, that can be a challenge, especially on the benefit side. You may not be able to afford a swanky package of medical and vision and 401k and that sort of thing. But you need to also be able to talk about the values of working for a smaller company. But from a pay standpoint, you got to be in the game. You've got to be in the game. And I encourage you to use a couple free websites that are out there. Do some research on what those jobs based on your title for this position. You go to salary.com, indeed.com, payscale.com. There's dozens of them. They're all free. You type in pay scale for staff accountant, and they will provide you with a bell curve of what staff accountants are being paid in your area based on experience and location and education and all kinds of other elements in there. It's important for you to be towards the middle in order to attract the right people. You can't be on the cheap side. It's always best to list a range of pay scale. It's, if somebody is on the low end of experience, they may make $20,000 a year. If they're on the high end, they may make $50,000 a year. In certain states, that's you can't hire anybody for under $40,000, like in California and New York. They're not even going to consider it because you can't even pay your gas bill for that. So that's the importance of localizing this regionally. So make sure you're competitive with what you're offering people, or you're going to hire a lower quality individual, which is going to create either more stress or more tension or the need for a higher head count, the number of people in order to get the job done. If you pay a little bit more, hire a higher quality individual who is more productive and get more done with less. And if you have to pay them 20-30% more in order to do that, consider those options. Just think about it as a different thought process when you're thinking about your compensation, but you've got to be competitive. Number 5, you've got to have a laid out process or plan, an integrated recruiting marketing plan. There are so many places to go find great hires. We're going to talk a little bit more about those. I'm going to list some of the top ones. Certainly, we need to have a digital approach to this. We need to post on, Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Monster, LinkedIn. Think about those different places. Maybe you need to post it on your social media site. If you have, I encourage you to have a company page on LinkedIn, have a company page on Facebook, and post your job openings and opportunities there. If you have followers, it's a great way to do it. That's a whole nother subject in training around marketing of how to get people to follow your company pages. But that's a great place to do it. You need to make sure that you get with your web developer if you don't have it, and have a careers section on your website, your company website, and list the jobs and some of the benefits and the about us and all the great things about working for your organization. And, in my experience, some of the best people, it's easy and it ups the success game tremendously when we're getting referrals from our current employee base. You should consider paying a finder's fee, a recruiting bonus for anybody that gets hired. There's more details and how to do that in the downloadable document that's associated with this course. But that needs to be part of your integrated recruiting marketing plan, is referrals from current employee bases, or maybe it's from your vendors, maybe it's from past employees. It could be through churches and or local associations. I work with some architectural firms and construction firms, and they often are posting or tapping into their resources of their networks of people that they know to talk about some of the positions they're looking to hire for. The more you get out there, and it can't be just one thing, it's not one size fits all. You need to do all these things. That's the reason why we call it an integrated marketing plan. You need to be doing it all. You can't just run an ad on Craigslist and expect to get the quality individual that you're looking for. You got to do them all. And by the way, I'm for the right position, I'm a fan of Craigslist, but not all positions. Now, let's talk about your job postings. There's really, in my opinion, two types of job postings. There's kind of the everyday boring that looks like everybody else's ad, and I've got that on the screen with you right now. And we've got a quality assurance manager posted on here, and it's in Garden Grove, California, and it's to support manufacturing, and it talks about a little bit about what the job is. They establish standards and manage the application of quality concepts, and the director of manufacturing and developing the quality assurance organization and following federal, blah, blah, blah. This is kind of your boilerplate standard ad that looks like everybody else's ad. And I'm okay with that if this is what you're comfortable with. But as part of the downloads for this course, I've got a job posting template that I've used for several years now with many of my clients. And we get a much higher level of interest and resume flows with this approach. This isn't what's on the screen is not the entire job posting, but it gives you a sense of the difference. And the difference, as you read off of, is how does it start? We don't talk about the job, it's what we offer. What's in it for the employee? So, career growth, independence, a great culture. If you're career minded, if you want to work for a cool boss, keep on reading. We're a leader in the anvil manufacturing world. Talk about all the kind of your company values. We haven't talked a minute yet about what the job is. We're talking about where they're going to work and the advantages of where they're working. That's the difference, because in today's world, today's society, people are attracted to something they can connect with, that they can feel proud of working there, that's going to provide them with the type of lifestyle and connection that they're looking for. So you've got to start by talking about not what the job is, but what they would get from working for you. What's the benefits? What's the intangible benefits? What do you offer that's different from anybody else? And at the end of the day, this is really important for you to grasp and hold on to. As people join companies, they accept jobs to go to work for Acme Anvil in this case, but they leave bosses. And they're probably looking for a job. They're leaving a job or have left a job because of a boss that frankly was not providing them with what they needed. They were either a poor leader, they didn't give a lot of direction, they could have been an a-hole, they could be very checked out, not giving direction, not training, etc. It's a litany of descriptors for bad bosses, and there's a lot of bad bosses out there. Take advantage of that. But you have to walk the talk. People are attracted now because I left a bad boss. I'm leaving a bad boss, not a bad company, a bad boss. And when you put in the first couple sentences, hey, if you want to work for a really cool company with a really cool boss, come on over. That's what people are looking for. That keeps them reading, and it makes you stand out from a recruiting process. You've got the template. You can make it your own. Don't change this first part, because this is what is the attraction. It's out there, it's different. You may feel a little uncomfortable using something like this because this doesn't fit your conservative nature. Well, I'm telling you, it works. Try it and you will see a difference. Number 6. There's rarely a protocol or process for, as resumes come in, how to handle them. How are we going to prioritize these? What's our plan for when resumes start coming in? Who are they coming into? Are we going to print them? Who's going to assess them? How soon are we going to get back to them? What's our window of time for response? That's the great thing about many of our posting sites today, is it allows us to contact people immediately from the site to let them know, hey, we're interested, let's set up an interview and move forward. So that you've got to remember, in a hiring environment, you're in a competition. You're in a race to hire great people. And you're in competition with a lot of different employers. And so the quicker you get to your quality candidates, create a connection and a conversation with them, you're likely to block off other competitors from talking to this same person. So you're in a little bit of a race. You don't want to rush, but you need to make sure that throughout the course of the day, not just once a day or once a week, we're looking at the resumes coming in. And if there's anybody standing out to in those resumes, that we're contacting them right away. So we need to know who that person is, determine who's going to review those. Make sure that's the email that these are referred to. What is the criteria that we're looking for? We've got to understand the job description, background, the sort of things we're looking for. You may have some criteria around, do they have to have a cover letter? Another nice thing about the sites, the job posting sites, is they've got all kinds of great pre-employment or pre-application assessments and tests and quizzes and skill tests, that sort of thing that and potential employees can go through. You may set the standard, as I often do with the folks that I work with, is if somebody's so lazy they won't take the assessment that we put on there, that's an immediate no. That you already know what kind of person this is. But if it's a sales assessment, an accounting assessment, a customer service assessment, an ISO assessment, they're all on there. They're all part of the package. Take advantage of those. Determine who's going to do it, what the criteria for judging these resumes are, a criteria for the frequency of the review of these resumes, the timelines or the standards around how quickly we're reaching back out to somebody. Have that defined and the expectations established. It may be you. It may be something that you're not delegating. And I'm down for that. It could be an HR person, it could be an administrative assistant, but they just need to be qualified to be able to assess these folks, because the next step that I encourage, and again, this is part of the downloadable documents as part of this course, is the phone screen. Again, it's a form. You can make it your own. If you don't like the questions on there, change the questions. But the phone screening process, if you're not already doing it, saves you a ton of time, and it helps you eliminate bad fits right away, so that you're not wasting a ton of your valuable resources in interviewing folks face to face that had no business coming in the first place. These questions help you suss out the people who are just not going to make it. If communication skills are an essential part of what's going to make this person successful at work for you, and we're talking to them on the phone and they can't form a good sentence, or they're one word responses, or they don't seem to have the educational level that you need for them to be successful, you're going to find out on the phone. So set up a 30-minute initial phone screen with everybody, assign the person who has enough knowledge, they have the aptitude and the knowledge to make these phone calls. And again, this may be you. Use a form, use a standard assessment that keeps you legally in check. This all, by the way, is from SHRM, the Society of Human Resources Management. If you're not familiar with SHRM, they are the penultimate of human resources laws, etc. Every form that is human resources related in all these courses is SHRM approved and 50 state compliant. This phone screen form certainly fits into that criteria too. So if anybody out there taking this course is a little concerned about the legality of things, you're good. Set up that 30-minute call. In fact, my personal approach to this is I send them a personal message. Hey, it's 2 sentences. Love your background, interested in talking to you. Let's set up a quick call, find out what you're looking for in your next career move. And I create a link to a calendar link through my Calendly. There's a bunch of these services out there, but it's a 30-minute phone call. That way we're not playing the back and forth rodeo of finding a time that you're available and a time that they're going to be available. A time block, what hours of the day I'm going to be available to do phone screens. You can do the same thing. I put that on the calendar. I put that in the calendar link. I program it to do that. I send them a link with the note saying, hey, want to talk to you, think you're awesome. Let's set up a quick phone call. Use this link to find a day and a time that works for you. Well, that day and time they pick is you've already designed that in your calendar, which Calendly is awesome to get you set up with this. Is already time blocked to fit your schedule. So you should be time blocking during the course for whoever's doing the phone screening. Wednesday between 9 and 11. That's my phone screening time. And I'm going to do it again at Thursday at 11 o'clock. I'm going to do it Friday at 9 to noon, whatever it is, so that these calendar appointments come in at a time that works for whomever is doing the phone screening. Make it easy, because again, this is about speed. We need to get them in and either get them moving forward or get them out of line based on these conversations. So use some of this technology that's available to you to streamline this and allowing them to schedule their own appointment for this 30-minute phone screen using the form that I provided to you in this course really expedites things for you. So encourage the phone screening. That is the process for recruiting great people. So we're now to, where are you now? Where are you now in your own either company or personal process for recruiting people? There's 2 exercises included in this course. And exercise 1 is taking a look. Please download this exercise. Take some time, put some thought into it, and get a current state assessment of where you are today on your recruiting process. What's working, what's not working, what could you do better, what could you enhance? So let's look at some of the things I shared with you in the process, and then come up with a thing or 2 or 3 that you've learned from this course that will solve some of your recruiting challenges. Important for you to do. Throughout the course, as I mentioned in the introductory video, throughout this course, this is all great information. Until you start applying it to your daily habits, it's worthless to you. You're going to forget all this in about 7 days. Start applying this right away. Start utilizing this. Think about where you're at. Think about where you want to go based on any additional knowledge you picked up on in this course. Exercise number 2 is then when you think about the integrated recruiting and marketing process for any open positions you have, which ones make sense? Let's go through and think about what positions that those work for and any ideas or resources that you need to be utilizing that you haven't utilized in the past to enhance your recruiting process. Because at the end, we want you to have a drop dead perfect recruiting process that's going to up the quality of individual that you hire, so that you have to hire less individuals due to turnover. And the people you do hire are much more effective than the ones you've been hiring. So that's exercise number 2. I'm going to stop now. What is your greatest takeaway? What can you as a manager commit to in changing in your way of your habits or processes to improve, enhance, make more effective your recruiting process. In our next video, we're going to talk about how to hire great people. This leads right into that. But if I'm bringing the right people in through my recruiting process, the next step becomes infinitely easier and even more successful for you.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. We appreciate all the downloads we're getting, the great fan base we have. If you want to talk with us about any of this training to get deeper into it, we can deliver it to your entire management team. We can work with you on how to go find great people, follow this recruiting process. Contact us at rdltraining.com, or you can email me, Vaughn at rdltraining.com. We can set up a meeting, talk about it. But I've got a lot of great tools I'm more than happy to share with you for free for the asking. So reach out to us. Check out our website, rdltraining.com. Just let us know what you're looking for. Be happy to send it to you. Until next time, this is Vaughn Sigmund with The Business Mechanic, and we'll talk to you again soon.
You've been listening to The Business Mechanic with your host, Vaughn Sigmund. If your business is in need of a good tune-up, let Vaughn get under the hood and put you on the right road to success on the next episode of Vaughn Sigmund's The Business Mechanic.